All right, everybody, welcome. So we are now recording. For those of you who have just jumped on, I do have the Nearpod link. I put that in the chat. So if you wouldn't mind getting on there, that kind of helps as we're going through the course. Today, what we're going to do, we're going to be talking about population pyramids. And I'll describe what those are just so you're aware this lesson is being recorded for learning purposes. And just a couple things here real quick. Make sure that for expectations, make sure you're following along with the Nearpod lesson. You're using the chat tool respectfully and appropriately, and then also responding to questions and instructions the first time. All right, before I get into the objective and how everything works for today, let me just go over the course here. And just so you're aware that recordings are always posted to the announcement board right here. So pretty easy to navigate and find. If we look at calendar here, today is the 30th of January. What we're doing today will be due on Friday. We actually have two assignments this week, okay? One is what's called the lesson 3 assignment. And the second one is our mid-course reflection, okay? So you're just basically going to tell me what you've learned in the class so far. Got to write a little bit about it. You know, we went over the five themes of geography. We've gone over natural disasters, and today we're going over population pyramids, okay? So you should be able to write at least a little bit about what you've learned, what kind of assignments you did, something like that, to be able to get points for that. So if we were to go in here, right, we have units. Somebody asked why units are all cap. I think it looks better that way. That's about it. No reason, rhyme or reason for that. All of these are caps here, if you look at it. So introduction to that. They're yelling at you. Yep, that's right. So they're yelling at you saying, hey, make sure you get these done, okay? So you should have all of these things done so far. The pre-test, you get points for taking the pre-test. So if you haven't done it, go and do it. Okay. In Unit 1, we had Unit 1 quiz. Unit 2, we had Lesson 2 assignment. And Lesson 3, you're going to have two things, which is the Lesson 3 assignment, which I'll go over in a second, and the mid-course reflection. Okay. So those are what we need to do. So moving back to here, our objective today, what we're going to get through and what will be like basically your exit ticket, even though it's not due until Friday, is the following. Giving a population pyramid, students will look at a population pyramid. You'll be able to write the total population, okay? You'll be able to go to the website links and find different populations in different categories. We'll talk about how you do that and how you find it and how you read a graph, and then be able to subtract those populations together to find out which gender, because it's actually broken out into genders. And given these questions, we'll be able to state their opinion on basically what the population pyramid tells you, okay? There's a lot of things we can gather from population pyramids. And as we can kind of see, like if wars happened, you can find that out because the population is going to vary because of people dying off during the war, right? And usually that's a certain gender. And what does that cause in regards to not having enough of the population to for other people to have other kids, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to kind of look at when we look at population pyramids. So let me this is a population pyramid right here, and we're going to go over how this looks, okay? And I should have gone to populationpyramid.net, which I'll do in a second. But this is what it looks like. So this is from 2017 data, and you'll look at there was 7.5 billion people in the world is what this is telling us. So down here at the bottom, okay? The population pyramid is broken into two sections. Okay, so on your let's see here, x-axis, right, coming across the bottom here, it breaks it down into percent. So 0%, and then it moves each direction. Okay, and what it's moving each direction is this is broken down, males on the left here and females on the right. And it kind of tells a little bit of the different populations. So according to the statistics down here, oh, and it has the ages on the y-axis. I forgot to mention that. So, and it does them in various things. So 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, and so forth, all the way up to 100 plus. Okay, only a couple people in the world get to 100 plus. Okay, not very many. Most people are going to die in 100 years. So as we look here, we can even determine some things right now. Like, for example, there are more males that are born in the world than females, according to this data. Okay. So, you know how I say, well, it's 50-50 if you have a baby. Actually, no, you're more likely to have a boy than you are a girl, according to this data. Okay. All right. So if we were to put here, let me go to this next screen real quick here. So this is going to give you some annotations that you can do here. So what I want you to do is I want you to circle where you can find the total population. Okay, so on your Nearpod, circle where you can find the total population. We're going to look at updated data in a second here. All right. So on this, you should have came right here and be able to circle population pyramid right there. And then you should be able to push submit. Okay. All right. So this is going to be a little trickier here. Okay. So right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump to this pyramid because this has updated information now. As you can see right here, the world population. Okay. Now, a lot of people are actually worried about the world population right now. So there was kind of a thing saying that there's been too many people in the world, so we're using too many resources. Therefore, the environment's kind of a little, not even good. But as you can see, ever since this is what they think the population is going to be all the way up to 2100, if you can believe that. Oh, can you have that link? Definitely. Let me throw that in the chat because this is something you're going to need to look at. All right. Okay. So if we look at right here, we're right at this period right here. Okay. Where they're saying we're right about around 8 billion people in the world. Okay. If you look at this kind of pyramid, it should be like a regular pyramid. Okay. Where you have a lot of people that are born in the younger ages, but the problem is now is we have this is starting to go down. If you look at the 0 to 4, less babies were being born during this time than the previous year and even the previous year before that. Okay, so what is hard is you're going to have all of these people up here are going to eventually get to retirement age, and you won't have a lot of workers underneath here. Okay. We can break this down to, for example, Western Europe, where you can see this happening. This is not a pyramid anymore, right? You are seeing that there is a lot less babies being born, and you have all of these people. So they have a huge issue of the working class that usually before has provided for the elderly and for the infants. And they're not able to because there's not as much workforce. Okay. So it's something that's interesting is like our population, as you can see here in Europe, that it is going to come right here and it's going to peak at, looks like here, what, 2030? But after that, it's going to start decreasing in population, okay? So they're not sure how that is going to work, okay? What's going to happen when those things happen, okay? So that's something that geographers are starting to think of. So if we look at Africa, though, they have a different set, right? That they have a whole bunch of kids, right? And so their population pyramid is how ours is looking, but you can see their population is going to continue to grow over time because of this. But you can see that their life expectancy, right, is not very good. They do not live to be very old, right? The most you're probably going to live to be maybe 60. Okay. Compared to like the United States, right? Let's look at the United States. And you can do any country in the world here. United States of America. Okay. This is what ours looks at. We have a big issue again as well. That our, luckily we have so many people, but the amount of people living in our country is going to plateau eventually. We are still continuing to grow as a population, but we're going to plateau. We might have the same problem as Europe, but Europe is going to have it sooner than we are. But it says like around, let's see here, about 2070, we're going to plateau and we're not going to grow very much as a country in population, unless you have immigration and some other things like that that come into play, okay? So pretty interesting what you can look at on there. So what I want you to be able to do at the end of the class is be able to analyze these different graphs and kind of see here. I think it was interesting that the problem is some data we don't have very well. For example, China, we don't get the best data out of China. But as you can see here, their one-child policy has not been very good because they're hitting their peak of people right now, and they're going to start diminishing as a population dramatically over the next quite a while, where their population is just going to decrease. Okay. And if you don't have people, right, you don't have a government, you don't have a country. So this is something they're kind of worried about. So it's interesting how you can see and look at populations and see how this works. Okay, so what you want to do is once you go to this population pyramid, I'm going to jump back and forth real quick. We're going to go to South America. Well, it's going to give you a direct link. But when you click on these, it's going to tell you exactly how many people there are in regards to males and females, okay? So for example, right here, I'm looking at the 70 to 74 category, and you can see there are more females than males, okay? And you can get those numbers, and you can kind of see who has a bigger thing. It also gives a percentage right there. So the question, one of the questions that you'll have on your, because this is going over almost the exact questions you will have on your assignment, is according, you're going to look at South America from 2019. What is the number of total females between the age of 85 to 89? And so you can see that, you can get that number. Make sure you put it in. What's the total number of males? Right? And then you can kind of see how it kind of works. Now, one thing that you'll notice, oh, somebody has a question. They're talking about China, so let me jump over there and answer it. If China's population goes down, the number of workers will go down, which means we'll be short of everything that is made in China. Yep, which is just about everything. That is correct, okay? That's something that geographers and economists are thinking about is, hey, if they don't have the workers there, how are they going to be that reliable for trading, okay? And for that kind of stuff. This is a real big issue that some people are not aware of, that, you know, it's going to start decreasing. Yeah, you're right. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works. But there is something. Let me go over to, let me just jump to South America real quick. Come on, South America. All right. One thing that's being noted too is there's a lot less people having babies in the world than they used to. Okay. As we look here, this is almost universal in every single country. Okay. That there are more males that are born every single year. Okay. But as we start getting older, they start to even out. Now there's the same amount of males as females. Now females take over, and they take over more and more and more and more. So we can think that if you are a female, you are more likely to what? Any thoughts there looking at that? Okay, live longer. Good. Glad you guys got that. Those that put that in the chat. Okay. So just looking at this, you know that the bigger number has to be females, right? And the smaller number has to be males because it's the older population, and that females live longer than males on average. Okay. And we're just talking about average here. Okay. And so you'll get some questions like this, you know, according to the numbers, which gender makes up the most of the population. And we can really go and we can infer some certain things from these population pyramids. Okay. So think about it, you know, according to the population pyramid that I just kind of went over, one gender has a higher percentage of populations from 0 to 45, right? Which we talked about just a second ago. Then 46 to 100 plus, the other gender has a higher population. Okay. Explain what gender has a higher percentage in their younger years and theorize why it changes. Okay. So you got to think of why. What is the reason? Sorry, my dog wants to go outside. I got to let her out. Come on, dog. Okay, if you theorize real quick, why? What's the reason that women in general seem to live longer? Okay, let me take into consideration real quick. I wonder if we look at the demographics of Russia. Okay. Okay, we look at Russia right here. The age bracket right here, you're going to see a lot because of wars and stuff like that, that men are kind of being put out here. Because if you look right here, look at this. Hardly any men, because this is where they, you know, Soviet Union kind of fighting. They're right there. Okay. So there's war that's an issue. Okay. Does anybody want to put anything in the near pod? Maybe. Okay, there are more males in the younger years of people, and it switches over there, being more females. Okay, because women live longer. Okay, and you can theorize why that's the case, right? Males have higher number. Okay, think the reason is due to men having jobs that put them in more danger than women. Yep, that there is some statistical kind of data with that. Okay, so very good. Men tend to be more riskier, have riskier behavior. Okay, as well. Okay, that on general, sometimes men don't take care of themselves as much with healthcare and stuff like that. Okay, so there's a lot of things you can kind of theorize from that. When you do have big things like, as we were looking over right here, where you have wars that go on, right? the entire male population just seems to go away. So there's a lot of things that you can kind of consider as you're going through there. Okay, so what we're going to do is let me go over just your 2 assignments today. So once again, your 2 assignments, lesson 3 assignment is going to be analyzing population pyramids. So you're going to go in here to the OLS. You're going to look at this population pyramid specifically, okay? South America in 2019. You're going to analyze it, okay? Ask you some questions, analyze it. It'll just go through different questions, and then you got to theorize it, and you submit your quiz, okay? So that's that question. The other one is your mid-course reflection, okay? So it goes over these 3 units right here. So introduction to geography, natural disasters, and the population pyramid that we did before. What you need to do, doesn't look like this wants to come up. Come on. Okay. Is you're just going to go right here. You're going to write on a paper, or you can put a link in, or you can upload something, anything like that, okay? But you just need to upload something right here, and you're just going to put what you think, okay? Just what you've learned in the last little bit, okay? So if you have any questions, please reach out. I think we have some questions in the question box real quick. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording here, but I'm going to stick around if you guys have any questions about the population pyramids. This is, I think, really, really interesting to look at. I was wondering if they have anything with Ukraine right now. Ukraine. Come on. Yeah, something happened here, right? War, maybe. Something like that. And it could be from this most recent war that the population that was hit the most was your under 30 population, those that were fighting, okay? And up here, the same thing. There was wars up here, so not a lot of men up here. A lot more women now. But as you can see, birth rates, still more males are born than females. Pretty interesting to kind of look at this stuff. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, I will be sticking around for a bit. But if not, get those assignments done by Friday. And have a great day. We'll see you later.